McBride was an all-star for the 5th time in her career as Boston goes backdoor to Hull. Working on Williams. Hull gets it to go. And a foul.
Career high for you tonight. How'd that first half feel, especially with 18 and just 20 minutes of play?
I mean, it obviously feels good, I think, for me, just playing with confidence. We're missing people, so everyone's got to do a little bit extra, be a little bit more aggressive offensively. So that was my mindset going in, and obviously it feels good to see the ball go through the net.
One player stepped onto the floor and turned what should have been a lost night into something unforgettable. With half the roster gone and playoff hopes slipping, Lexie Hull, a name many outside of Indiana barely knew, dropped a career-high 23 points, refusing to let her team go quietly. She wasn't supposed to be the star, but in a game where the Fever were down to scraps, Hull looked like the future. But the question is, was this a one-night spark or the beginning of a new chapter for Indiana? Lexie Hull didn't just score 23 points. She owned the floor. For nearly 37 minutes, she was everywhere, cutting behind defenders, pulling up from deep, and pushing the pace like her season depended on it. Every shot felt like a statement.
Second all-star appearance was right here in Indianapolis back in July. Oh, looking inside for Boston. She will launch and knock down a 3. Lexie Hull's hit a pair. End of that game, but foul line continues to flummox Smith here this year. Here's Hull backdoor, puts on the brakes and lay it in. It's a Lexie Hull show here.
Not just for her, but for a Fever team missing nearly all of its firepower. What made this performance different wasn't the box score. It was the way she carried herself. Confident, aggressive, relentless. Hull wasn't waiting for the offense to come to her. She was hunting shots, seizing opportunities, and making Minnesota's defense pay every single time they lost track of her. By halftime, fans weren't asking who's filling in for the injured stars. They were asking, is this Lexie Hull's team now? But the real story of her career night can't be separated from the chaos surrounding it.
In Chloe Bibby's absence, you'll likely see a lot of Turner on the floor here today as Lexie Hull launches and hits. It's a 3-point parade. Going in. Here is Hull. Look how aggressive Lexie Hull has been here in the first half. That was her 8th shot. Lexie Hull with all the confidence in the world. Petty, wide open. Oh, yes.
What made Lexie Hull's performance so striking was the backdrop. Indiana wasn't just shorthanded, they were gutted. Injuries ripped through the roster, leaving the Fever without names that normally carried the scoring load. For most teams, that would have meant rolling over and chalking the night up as a lost cause. But the Fever didn't have that luxury. By the time they faced Minnesota, the injury report looked more like a starting lineup than a list of sidelined players. Kelsey Mitchell had been battling nagging issues, Aaliyah Boston wasn't at full strength, and depth pieces were either out or limited. The rotation shrank to a skeleton crew. Every possession became a survival test. This is where the psychology of the game comes in. When half your roster is gone, the mindset of the remaining players usually shifts. And not always in a good way. Some shrink, hoping to just get through the night without embarrassment.
Lexie Hull tonight, career high for her, just especially effective there early on. What were you seeing from her performance?
She was aggressive. I mean, she was hunting shots. She was aggressive to the rim. You know, she knew we needed another scorer on the floor, and because of the attention that Kelsey and AB get, she was getting free and she was hunting shots, and that's what we're going to need from her.
Others hesitate, unsure if they can step into roles they weren't designed for. But Hull, she leaned in. Instead of folding under the pressure, she treated it like an opportunity. With no one else to lean on, she had the green light, and she took it. The thing is, that kind of freedom can either expose you or transform you. Players are often defined in these moments, where they're forced out of their comfort zone and onto a stage they didn't plan for. And make no mistake, this wasn't just about Lexie Hull getting hot.
Turner with the offensive rebound. Hull is wide open and knocks.
Minnesota knew exactly who was killing them, and they still couldn't slow her down. Every bucket was a reminder that Indiana's depth, even in crisis, had teeth. But here's the catch. Injury storms don't just test rosters, they expose weaknesses in systems, in preparation, and even in leadership. And while Hull was shining, the game raised a bigger question for Indiana. If the only time she gets to prove herself is when the roster is falling apart, what does that say about how the Fever are using her? Because when the dust settles, the spotlight doesn't just fade, it shifts. And the storm was only the beginning of what made this night so revealing.
Obviously, Chloe Bibby, a late addition to the injury report. Just when did that injury happen, or do you know the severity at this point?
Felt something during pregame, and so holding her out as a precaution. We don't know anything, so hopefully we'll get some more information tomorrow when she can be seen.
Had she been dealing with any soreness or anything like that in previous days, the week leading up to tonight?
Yeah, I think everybody's dealing with soreness at this point in the year. But yeah, I had been dealing with a little bit of knee soreness, and again, just want to make sure that we're cautious. And
Lexie Hull's rise in this game wasn't just about scoring points, it was about identity. She's never been billed as the franchise centerpiece. Drafted in 2022, Hull entered the league with the reputation of being tough, scrappy, and smart. The kind of player who does the little things coaches love but fans rarely notice. Defense, hustle plays, floor spacing, that was supposed to be her lane. But here's the thing about underdogs. When they finally get their chance, they don't just fill gaps. They rewrite the script. Hull wasn't supposed to torch Minnesota's defense. She wasn't supposed to look like the most confident player on the floor. Yet that's exactly what happened, and the energy shift was undeniable. What makes stories like this resonate is the contrast.
Still think you want to play Lexie 40 minutes. How can you handle the wing without Chloe tonight?
yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to do it by committee. Bree Turner can guard 5 positions, so she'll be out there defensively. We've got to try to manipulate lineups a little bit more to figure out who we can stretch the floor with. So probably on the floor at the same time as Dee in a lot of things that we do. But again, if it's not going to be spacing the floor in the half court, we've got to be able to get our defense to create some offensive transition opportunities. That doesn't always have to be.
When stars put up 20 plus points, it's expected. But when a role player, someone often overlooked, suddenly explodes, it feels electric because it breaks the narrative we thought we knew. Fans start wondering if they've underestimated her all along. Teammates start seeing her differently, and opponents, well, they stop leaving her open. Hull's performance tapped into something deeper, the idea that hunger can be more powerful than hype. She didn't walk into that game with the spotlight, but she walked out having earned it. And in a league where minutes and roles are never guaranteed, moments like these can change careers. Still, the underdog label only tells part of the story, because as impressive as her breakout was, the real test isn't just having one big night. It's whether she can keep proving that this wasn't a fluke, and the next chapter in her story would push that question even further.
Oh my goodness, I was taken back. It was fun. It was funny. I was very humbled. I was grateful for my group. I love the people I play with, and to know that they would go out their way to make something like that happen for me, it means a lot more than people know, because I have been here the longest. I have, everything that people talk about, I have been, and to know that my teammates kind of like see me as, I have value somewhere, and I feel like they make me feel like, I'm important to them and vice versa. And so that value means everything to me. And anybody knows me, I'm a loyal type person. And so I'm going to forever look at them like forever friends after something like that.
Every career has a moment where things shift, not in slow motion, but in a single night that changes how people see you. For Lexie Hull, this game felt like that kind of turning point. Up until then, she'd been the player coaches trusted for energy and defense, but rarely the one you drew up plays for. Suddenly, she wasn't just filling minutes, and she was carrying an offense that had every excuse to collapse. The way Hull scored told the story. This wasn't just a shooter getting lucky from deep. She attacked closeouts, finished through contact, hit pull-ups with confidence. Her 23 points came in waves, each bucket adding pressure on Minnesota and adding confidence to Indiana's bench. You could see it in her body language.
In the second half and that overtime.
Well, we know she can heat it up.
Oh, Petty shaking off Carrington, and she hits her first shot with the fever. It's a corner three, and Indiana's opened up 4 for 5 from the three-point. Fever on the night are shooting 69%. Look at Turner running the floor like a guard. Kick out Petty. Oh, yeah!
No hesitation, no second guessing. For a player who had often been seen as a role piece, that confidence was the real breakthrough. But the turning point wasn't only personal. For Indiana, a team desperate to establish an identity in a stacked league, Hull's performance sent a message. Depth matters. Development matters. If a young player can step into chaos and deliver like this, it's a sign the Fever might be building something more sustainable than just leaning on their stars. Of course, with turning points come expectations. Fans who barely noticed Hull before were suddenly buzzing about her ceiling.
Players bust their ass. Like, they battle every single game. And they just, it's a couple minutes here and there. You got to play a 40-minute game. But this is a special group of women, man, with what they've been going through, and everything that they've had to continue to overcome, and to put ourselves in position. It could have been real easy to fold in that third quarter when they broke it open. To put ourselves in position, to come back to compete to win a ball game. I mean, it's no matter what It happens, win or lose. The roots that this group is forming culturally, the roots that they're forming in terms of competitive spirit and what it means to compete at this level. I mean, those are what allow us to withstand these storms. And the numbers tell a story, but their hearts and their character tell another one.
Could she become more than a defensive specialist? Was this the night she proved she deserves consistent minutes, even when the roster is healthy? Moments like these can define the trajectory of a career, not just because of the stats, but because of how coaches and front offices recalibrate their view of a player. One big night might not guarantee stardom, but it can guarantee opportunity. And for Hull, opportunity was everything. But opportunity comes with pressure, because after you break out, the question is no longer, can you do it? It's, can you keep doing it? And that's where things get complicated.
Mitchell slicing through, handoff Boston, who lays it in.
Kelsey Mitchell has to make decisions right now.
The field, they're 9 of 21 from the three-point line. Boston spins inside, and she's got back-to-back buckets.
Lexie Hull's breakout night gave us more than just stats. It gave us a story of determination, opportunity, and the unexpected heroes that can emerge when a team faces adversity. But this is just one chapter in a much longer season. The Indiana Fever still face challenges, injuries, and tough matchups ahead.
Eddie looking inside, finds Hull. Boston, deep position, 2 more!
Will Hull continue to rise? Can the team convert flashes of brilliance into wins that count? That's what makes following this story so compelling. Now it's your turn. If you're as excited as we are about Hull's performance, drop a comment below with Lexie Show and let everyone know who you're rooting for.
The lulls that you obviously mentioned just now and how you guys want to make those lulls obviously not
shorter.
as bad. Just what can the team do on the floor? What can you guys as a coaching staff do in the moment to kind of break those up?
Yeah, I mean, some of it's timeouts. Some of it's substitution matchups, although we don't have a lot of those, and some of it's just attention to detail. I mean, championship teams, their attention to detail throughout the course of 40 minutes is there for the most part, and we're learning how to do that.
Do you think she can carry this momentum, or is the roster too fragile to sustain it? And don't stop here. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest updates on the Fever, breakout players, and every high-stakes moment this season has to offer.
No matter what, it happens, win or lose, the roots that this group is forming culturally, the roots that they're forming in terms of competitive spirit and what it means to compete at this level. I mean, those are what allow us to withstand these storms. And the numbers tell a story, but their hearts and their character tell another one.
The story isn't over, and you'll want to be there for every game, every highlight, and every twist that comes next. The question remains, can Lexie Hull's spark ignite a full-fledged comeback for Indiana? Watch, follow, and join the conversation, because the season is just heating up.